everybody, welcome back to the Chaotic Little Book Corner. My name's Acacia. Today we're doing our top 5 memoirs. Today I am excited to do this. It is a requested video. Yay! Before we move forward, I am going to do a quick honorable mention. This, I would say, is a memoir in a mixture of different formats. This is a bunch of different people's personal experience with sexual harassment, assault, and different things of that nature. There's the, see, this guy's like reflecting the light right back at it. This is taken as a compliment. It is written by Maria Stoyan, and I really love this book. It's a graphic novel, and it's a depiction of all the things I just said. I think it was really important. I think that this is a really good way to kind of break into that world if you're interested in discussing the idea of rape culture or anything of that extent, or you just don't understand why we're all angry and you want to know why so many women are pissed off about it. That's another good way to do it. Like, if you're like, why are women so pissed off about rape culture? We're going to be like, read that book, and then you're going to read it and you're going to be like, oh my god, it doesn't just affect women, it's amazing. And you're like, I know. Yeah. Alright. So I'm going to start with, again, I can't do top 5 till I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, I can't do it. I can't. Nope. So these are in no particular order. I'm going to start with this. These are my top 5 memoirs. I also did not bring in Furiously Happy. You guys know that ultimately that is my #1 ever. I love that book to death. But for multiple different reasons, and I also wouldn't say that it's like, I think that it's a really well-written memoir, but I don't think it I don't think it packs a punch the way a lot of these do, because I think it's very specific to a certain audience, and I think that that's fine, and I'm part of that audience, so that's why it works for me. These, though, these pack a punch, these make a point, and I think they're super important. Alright. When I First Knew by Joan Alden. This is amazing. This is a memoir that takes place from 1951 to 57. This is about Joan coming to terms with the fact that she is homosexual. It was really interesting. It was very well done. It was her story as a younger child coming to terms with the fact that she was different. She didn't like what other girls liked. Her family didn't like that she didn't like what other girls liked. I thought this was sad and beautiful and touching and wonderful, and it's a really interesting book to depict what can happen in a family where homosexuality is really not accepted. Bullying can occur even within the family, and that's really sad to me. They're awesome, really wonderful, and it is from Dog Ear Publishing. They did send it to me for review. I believe I did a full in-depth review of it, and I will link it down below. Super fabulous, wonderful, well-written, worth it. This is Things No One Will Tell Fat Girls by Jess Baker. Jess is my hero. I love this girl so much. This is, I did a full in-depth review of this as well. I'll link it down below. I think I did a full in-depth review of another one of these as well. No, well, kind of. I'll link another video down below which will talk about the other two that I have right here as well. So, Things No One Will Tell Fat Girls. This, I can't even begin to tell you how important this book was to me. It really gave me a push to accept my body, but not in like a, hey, I'm fat, I'm awesome, you're gonna love me regardless of the fact. More of a, I'm gonna love myself regardless. You don't have to love me. I'm fine with it. Nobody else has to love me but me, and that's okay. I can love the fact that my belly kind of curls a little bit and has a little bit of a bump and looks like I probably should have had children, but I haven't. I have a female body. What can I say? I have a very female body, and my body is extremely curvy in certain spots and extremely not in others. I have a very different shape, and I know this, and I'm okay with it usually, most days. But she also tells you that that's okay. Some days you're not going to like it, and that's okay. This book, if you have any struggles with... I have a massive bruise on my leg. If you have any struggles with self-image and feeling like you are a little bigger or a little wrong-shaped or anything, this is a really wonderful book to kind of give you some self-love and perspective, and I absolutely loved it, and Seal sent it to me for review, and I can't thank them enough for that. This is Wasted. This is by Maria Hormacher. And again, Dorothy Allison blurbed this. I knew I needed to read Bastard Out of Carolina. This changed the ball for me. This changed the game. It changed everything for me. I knew food was an interesting concept for me. I knew food had a relationship with me that I didn't really feel 100% right about. It always felt a little strange to me. I have come to terms with the fact that I do have an eating disorder. Not only just myself, but other alters as well, which I knew, but I myself as the host have an eating disorder as well. Sadly, it is a binging disorder, which does not help because... Anyway, I actually will be doing a full in-depth video discussing my relationship with food in the future. It's been requested, and I'm happy to do it. It's just taking me a lot longer to get the guts up to do it. This changed everything for me. It's a memoir about anorexia and bulimia. I think it was the most honest depiction I've ever come across. It gut-punched me. It was beautiful. It was breathtaking, and I will never leave, like, this will never leave my shelf. Ever. Go into this with open eyes, but go into it with a careful stomach, because it's not gonna, it doesn't tiptoe around anything. So be aware of that, guys. This is All the Things We Never Knew, Chasing the Chaos of Mental Illness, and it's by Sheila Hamilton. It is a memoir of her after the suicide of her husband, and it is written as only a journalist can write, and I found it fascinating, wonderful, beautiful, breathtaking, and really, really important. I think it was a really interesting concept and conversation about what happens when people are left in the wake of tragedy and why we sometimes try and shun them, or what they go through after they've been shunned or helped, or what pity looks like. It's just a really interesting concept, and I think we really need to take more consideration into the way that we treat people after a crisis, because there's this feeling of weirdness that a lot of people come into contact with when they are faced with a person who's in crisis. I've discovered my family went through a severe crisis when I was about 13 years old, and it wasn't my sexual assault. It was something completely different. I'm not going to tell you because it is another family member's story, not mine, and I don't want to make that person uncomfortable. I will tell you that that moment in my life probably shook me more than anything else, and I was terrified that I was going to lose that family member. And I remember sitting on the hospital floor and feeling completely drained and tired and just holding their hand. And luckily they pulled through, but the response that the community gave us after that crisis was pretty shameful of the community. They were rude, they were awful, they ostracized our family, and they made it very clear that we were no longer welcome in the community. And that needs to not be an option when crisis occurs. You can't leave people stuck in a lurch because it's rude and it's awful and it's cruel. It's very cruel, and it should never be something you should do. So that book is extremely important there, and it was a really well put together memoir. This one I have not finished yet, but I'm so in love with it that I have to bring it up. This is Sex Objects, a Memoir by Jessica Valenti. This is her memoir of growing up in New York City and coming to terms with the fact that she was visualized as a sex object in her childhood and as she aged, and what it was like to grow up as a woman with fear and life and all these other things that we just kind of assume as a woman is acceptable, but it's actually not. Like, we just assume that the fact that we're taught to walk in the light is normal. Men don't really seem to learn that the same way we do. It's very obvious that as a woman, it's assumed that we need to know how to be afraid of things, how to not be putting ourselves into situations that could potentially harm us, because it's our responsibility to not be harmed. It's not the harmer's responsibility to not harm us. So it's beautiful, it's wonderful. I think it's going to be one of my favorite books after this. I think it's amazing and exceptional and absolutely wonderful. So this has been my top 5 memoirs ever. So yeah, I will definitely see you in my next video, and I will talk to you soon.